I'm Lisa Wallen with Directional Learning, and I'm super excited because I'm going to be teaching you seasons. And guess what? You're going to be learning where the months live and the numbers that correspond to the months. And we're going to learn how many days are in each month. And just by looking at this picture here, the student will learn how the year works and how the season works. So it just makes a visual spatial picture for the student. That's what we do. We try to tap into their skills that they're really good at and teach them in that fashion. And also, we're going to learn about leap year as well. So you can go to our website at www.directionallearning so that you can download our template, our free template that we have, so that you can cut it out, laminate it if you like, and the student can move all these parts around to make it multi-sensory. All right, I'm ready to get started, so let's get started. All you have to do is listen, and then you'll be able to teach your student, or your student can watch the video as well. All right, let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to learn our seasons by these visual pictures here. And this is how our visual picture works. You look here, then you look here, 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 here. Do you see how it works? It's like a clock. And these seasons are going to coordinate to how the year goes as well. So the first thing I have here is I have a snowflake, okay? A snowflake for the season winter. Pretty easy. Next, we're going to move to this pot of flowers. Do you see how it's springing up? Well, it's springing up, so guess what that is? That is spring, okay? Then we're going to move to the sun. Think of hot. Think of summer. You're out of school. All right, the next thing we're going to look at is this picture of leaves falling. Do you see how the leaves are changing colors and they're falling? Well, that would be fall. Pretty simple. And the next thing you're going to look at is this snowflake here. So we're back to winter. Think of cold, think of rain, think of snow in the winter. That is how our seasons work, and that's how our year works. So we start off in winter, then we move to spring. The flowers are springing up. Then we move to hot summer. Then we move to fall. Then we move back to winter, and then our year starts back up. All right, you got that part? Okay, so next what I want you to do is I want you to take everything off the board and rebuild it. So you will rebuild the snowflakes. Then you'll put the flowers, then the sun, then the tree, then back to snowflakes. Then you're going to put the name of the seasons: winter, spring, summer, fall, winter. And do you see, in just a few minutes, you created a visual spatial picture of where all these items live. They know where the pictures live, and now they know where the seasons live. You could even have them point this out on a piece of paper, and they would be able to get it, or even in the air, because they have a visual spatial picture of it by using the picture to get the season and so forth. All right. Next, you want to show them that this is how our year works too, as well. This would be the beginning of the year, and this would be the beginning of the year too, but because this is in the middle, summer is in the middle of the year. And then we're going to towards the end of the year, which is fall, and then winter will be our end of the year, and then we go back to the beginning of the year in winter. All right, so you want to show them that, and it just kind of creates a visual spatial picture for them so that they see how our year works and our seasons work the same way. All right, now it's time to move on to the next part. Okay, once you've learned our picture that goes with the season, now it's time to count. All right, we're going to have numbers within the seasons, and these numbers are going to represent months. Pretty easy. Okay, so for the first one, I'm going to show you. First one, we count 1. Second, 2. So winter has 1 and 2. Can you take it off the board and rebuild it? 1, 2. Pretty easy. Okay, we're going to move on to spring. Okay, we're going to move on to spring, and we're going to march on into 3. So you're going to put 3, then 4, then 5. Those are the numbers that coordinate with spring. 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's move to the next one. Let's keep counting. So if this is 3, 4, 5, and our pattern goes this way, this would be 6, 7, and 8. Let's move it. 6, 7, and 8. Do you see that? So spring has 3, 4, 5. Summer has 6, 7, 8. There's 3 numbers in each. There's only 2 numbers in winter. Okay, so pull them off the board and build it back. Okay, let's pull off summer. And let's pull off everything and then have them rebuild it back. So a lot of this is building things back, okay? So winter, what numbers go in there? 1 and 2. Pretty simple. Spring, 3. Starts off with 3, 4, and ends in 5. And summer, 6, 7, 8. So you get how they're rebuilding it. Okay, fall. It's going to get 9. We're just going to keep on counting. 10, 11. And then we move into winter. And winter is going to get 12. And 12 is the very last one because that's the end of the year. Okay, so it has 12 numbers. So then up here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we have to learn where the numbers live. Okay, so winter has 2 numbers. Spring has 3. And look at spring. It starts with 3, ends in 5. So we have starts in 3 and then 2 more numbers. So 5. Summer has 6. We start at 6 and then 2 more numbers. Fall, we start at 9, 2 more numbers. And do you see at the top number? It's kind of like math. We count by 3s, 3, 6, 9, and then all the ways to 12 on the winter. All right, do you see that? 3, 6, 9, 12. So you want them to understand that there's 3 numbers in here, and we start at 3, end at 5, but we start here at 6, and then we end at 8. We start here at 9, then we end at 11. So you just want to quiz them. You can have them pull it off and you can say, okay, so what numbers are in spring? And they can say 3, 4, 5. What numbers are in fall? Oh, yeah, we start with 9, 9, 10, 11. And then winter at the end of the year is 12. Okay, so you just want to make sure that they know these numbers, where the numbers live. Because they've already learned where the seasons live, right? And where the pictures live. So now they're learning where the numbers live. Because the numbers are going to coordinate with the months. All right, and once they have the numbers, now you can move on to the next part. Okay, now that they learn where all the numbers live, now it's time to give the numbers the month name. All right, so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to say, see this one here? The month lives here, and I'm going to show you which month lives here. The first month that lives here is January. Pretty simple, okay? And if you look at January, if we were to cut it off right here, we have the name Jan. Okay, for short. So we can think of Jan. So I bring a picture out for Jan, and her name is Jan. And she's bundled up because it's cold. And you can think of, look at January. It ends in airy. Well, winter can be think of it as being airy. It's very cold. The air is airy. Okay, so Jan lives here first in the number 1, January. And then the number 2, I just kind of think of February, okay? And notice that it ends in the airy as well. You can kind of see that it ends in the airy because the air is cold. And I think of Feb, the frog. And I put a frog there because in February we can have leap year, okay? And frogs can leap. So think of Jan lives here first, January, and then in the second place, Feb the frog lives there in February. Okay, so you're just making that visual picture for them. And then you're going to clear the board. Pretty easy. And then you're going to ask them to rebuild it. You can go ahead and keep the name of the season there, the number, and the picture. And then you're going to tell them who lives in the one place. And they should say, oh, yeah. They get the visual picture of the girl, Jan. So January. And then number 2, oh, yeah, it's Feb the frog. February lives there. So see, it just makes a visual picture. And then we'll move on to spring. And spring, I tell them, in spring, we march right into spring. So the number 3 would be March. And then I put a marching band there for them to see. So we march into spring. Do you see that? March into spring. And then for the number 4, guess what? If we march into spring, we have April. And I think of April showers. I just bring a picture of showers for April showers. Brings, you might have heard of the saying, May flowers. And then I'll bring a picture of May flowers. And also something for April that's going to come in handy later is I bring in a picture of a rabbit delivering eggs, because that can happen in April. And you want to tell them that the egg is super important at the very end, okay? So they just learned that under spring, we march into spring, and then we have April showers, right? Brings May flowers. So then the same thing, you're going to have them clear the board. And you want to take everything off the board and just keep what I said, the season and the picture. And then you're going to ask them who lives in the first place, January, and then who comes second, February. And then you just keep on going. And then we march into spring, so you have the marching band, and then we have April showers brings May flowers. Pretty easy. And then you can move on to the next part once they have those visual pictures, and you're going to move into summer. And summer's pretty easy, okay, because we're going to think of summer as being super hot. And what I like to do is I like to say that June, the chef, cracks the egg, and it's so hot, she cracks the egg, she can cook the egg on the sidewalk because it's so hot in the month of June. So June comes next. And if you look at it, June, this is June the chef. It's so hot she can take that egg, crack it, and cook it on the sidewalk. And that's the beginning of June. It's very hot. And think of June the chef. She comes first in the beginning of summer. And then, guess what? June, our chef, she likes to look at fireworks. We'll put it over here. Fireworks in July. So July comes next. So first June, the chef, and then she likes to watch fireworks in July. And then for the 8th month, we think of summer is ending. And August starts with and then I put a picture of summer is ending. So we say, summer is ending. So that's the 8th month, and that's how we end summer. We say, summer is ending. Get it? August. Okay, and then you're going to clear the board. Pretty simple. Same process. Clear the board of the pictures. And then take the months off, and then have them replace it. And they'll start back up. They'll think of January, right? Jan, and then the frog, February, and then we march into spring, and then April showers, May flowers. All right, and then we're going to go back to the chef June. She likes to watch fireworks in July, and then we think, summer is ending August. And then something else I want to show you before I move to fall. Look at spring. Look at the first letter here. It spells M-A-M. It spells ma'am here under spring. Okay, so that's something to remember. So we're going to move to fall now. Fall is pretty easy. For the 9th month, we're going to think of September. And in September, think about it's time to go back to school. So we're going to put a lunch bag there in September. And we're going to put an egg there. And think about September, we go back to school. It's the beginning of fall, right? Say your mom, your dad, your grandma, whoever packs you a sack lunch at school. You open the lunch and you get a boiled egg in September, okay? And then the next month is the 10th month, and that month is October, and we could think of it as trick-or-treating. Or maybe you give out candy, all right? So the 10th month is October. Think of a trick-or-treat bag, all right? And then the number 11, I like to think of, here's the month. We'll put the month, it's November. And I like to think of Turkey Day or Thanksgiving. And turkeys can lay eggs. Remember I said the eggs are going to be significant at the end. All right, so then you've just made some visual pictures for the student for them to remember the months, and then you'll just clear the board, just like we've been doing. Pretty easy. And then ask them to rebuild it. So say, what is number 1? They should say January, and so on, all the ways to fall to November. So you're just taking things off the board and having them replace it. And something else you want to tell them in fall, look, they all end in burr. Think of fall, the weather is starting to change. It might be cooler in the air, crisp in the air, and you might say burr, and all the burrs live under fall. And also, if you look at the first letter in September and October and November, it spells out sun. Not this type of sun, but this type of sun. All right, so think of fall, it spells out sun. So you can remember September, October, November. And suns are pretty polite and say, yes, ma'am. All right, so it's an easy way to remember. And then after you've rebuilt it, we're going to move on to the 12th month. The 12th month is my favorite time of year. Okay, here's the clue, and it's going to be December. So let's put our month there, December. All right, so then you're going to have them remove the pictures, remove the months, and then recite it. Go back through it, rebuild it, okay? And then by then, they should have it pretty clear. They should have all those visual pictures intact to figure out which month comes next. So once they have that and they have an understanding of everything that we just went through, we went through them learning where the picture lives, the season, and the month, or the numbers, then the months. Now we can move on to teaching them how many days each month has. Okay, now we're going to talk about how many days each month has. That's right, these months have days in them. Okay, so we're going to talk about February first because February is special. I call it the odd man out because it's different from all the other months. All right, February is special because it has Feb the frog in that month. And we know frogs can leap, right? Frogs can leap. So February will contain either 28 or 29 days. Okay, and we call it leap year because Feb the frog can leap. Okay, so most of the years we will have 28 days, but when Feb the frog leaps, we will have actually get an extra day. We'll have 29 days in it. All right, and let's bring this out right here. So Feb the frog says, I can leap an extra day on leap year. So he can only leap on leap year. Okay, and then we'll have that extra day. We'll have actually 29 days in that month. All right, so he says every 4 years we have 29 days. So most of the time we will have 28 days. But if it's that 4th year, he can leap to 29 days. All right, and we'll have 29 days, but most of the time we'll have 28 days. This year it happens to be leap day, so he can leap that extra day and we'll have 29 days in the month. And then next year he'll go back to 28 days. Okay, how do you remember when he leaps? Well, this is how I remember. He does it every 4 years, so I count his legs, okay? He has 1, 2, 3, 4 legs. So every 4 years, he can leap and we'll have 29 days. But most of the time, we'll have 28 days. So that's how leap year works. All right, let's look at the other months. The other months I told you, you can either have 30 or 31 days in it. All right, let's look at the 30 here. Okay, let's look at that 0. I think that 0 looks like an egg. Do you see that? The 0 looks like an egg. So all the months that have an egg, remember I told you that was important, all the months that have an egg, and there's 4 of them, they will contain 30 days. Let's look at April. April has an egg, so it would have 30 days. June has an egg, so it would have 30 days. September has an egg, so it would have 30 days. And November has an egg, so it would have 30 days. Pretty easy. And then all the rest that don't have an egg will have 31 days. So January will have 31 days. March will have 31 days. May will have 31 days. July will have 31 days. August and October. And of course, December will have 31 days. So all you have to remember, February has Feb the frog, so he can leap, so it has 28 or 29 days. And then anything that has an egg will have 30 days. And then everybody else has 31 days. Pretty easy, right? So that's all you have to remember. All right. Thank you for listening to Directional Learning, and I can't wait to teach you more. Make sure that you like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for listening to Directional Learning.